Welcome to InGame Live Prime Time on a terrific Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel alongside Dave Sharapan for the next 2 glorious hours as we take you right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, watching, analyzing, and more importantly, betting on the world of sports. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. College basketball season may be over, but Major League Baseball is just getting underway. We got NHL, NBA, both for a rare time. We have both leagues with full slates of games after basically taking off yesterday, so we'll get to that. We got same-game parlays. We got black clouds. We have it all over the next 2 glorious hours, including our 3-league, 3-team parlay, which is still very much alive. Thank you very much, UConn Huskies. Yes. What's going on, Dave? How are you tonight, my friend?
Hello, Mr. Wetzel. Good to see you, sir. I'm sorry I didn't get close enough to hook up with you over the weekend. I was in your city, in your area. I'm still a little shook. I'm 53. That was the first time I was behind the wheel of a car driving in your city. And I said it earlier on Bostonian versus the book, and I'll say it again right now. I now know why most of you there are the way you are. Because like Al Pacino said in that movie where you fight for that inch, you guys are fighting for that inch every day in New York on the roads. There's a lot of horns. There's a lot of sign language. There's a lot of aggressiveness. Everybody's angry. I know who's not angry. The S&W Corporation. Thank you, UConn Huskies. Good start. We're live to the NHL, which will be solved first, and then the NBA. Hopefully we get that NHL one, and then we'll be really in business. But a lot of order of business tonight on the ice. There you see all the games right there. Carolina-Boston is the one I have circled. That's the one I'm keeping my eye on, and hopefully there's not many goals scored in that game. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so far you're looking pretty good because they had no goals through the first period. They just started the second period. Ton of goals at I was going to say Madison Square Garden, but actually at the UBC here on the island as the Islanders host the Rangers. It's always a fun time when those two teams get together. Remember, they had about 50,000 goals when they had that outdoors game not that long ago. So 3-0 Islanders. You got a huge one, right, in Detroit with the Capitals and Red Wings. No score in the second period on that one as they battle. You got to be a brain surgeon here, Dave. You and I both follow hockey, but you have to be a brain surgeon to follow the playoff scenario because it's a little goofy in the NHL. You got basically 2 ways to get in, but the bottom line is that there's about 4 teams scrunched together for 2 spots, maybe even 5 teams scrunched together for a couple of spots in the Eastern Conference. And the Washington-Detroit game is a huge one. I can't believe the Capitals are falling off the face of the earth here. 6 straight losses. And really, Philadelphia's even worse. Another team that's fallen way back, and they're trailing Montreal 1-0. They've lost 7 in a row. So big night in the NHL for sure.
Yeah, there's certain teams that as a fan of a team or a fan, born and raised in a city like it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me all the time. I'm a Penguin guy. The Penguins have played their way back into the mix, but there's, you need help when you put yourself in these situations. And tonight, you got to root for the Capitals. And that's like rooting for the Ravens for Steeler fans. Like, you just can't – it's really hard to do. There's pain physically involved with it. But I'm really hoping the Capitals can win against Detroit because the Penguins got Detroit coming up next. And this would go a long way toward helping the Penguins, climb their way back in. So, yeah, big night in hockey. There's a big night in everything. I mean, there's a big night in baseball. Are games big in baseball in April, Scott?
Yeah. You know what? They're not big in May or June, but they're big in April, July, August, September. It's still, the dog days of summer, July. I actually like that. Crunch time. You come down the home stretch. Yeah. You got the trade deadline as well in July. And initially this is still baseball. It's, the euphoria, it's back and everything. You get to next month, and then it's kind of like, but it's a feeling out process. See who's really good, who's really bad in baseball. I see the Stanks are leading the Marlins 1-0. Miami made the playoffs last year, and they might not win 50 games this season. But you talk about disaster. They're in the 4th inning there. Braves up on the Metsies, and then your Pirates with a big series over the weekend against Baltimore, taking 2 out of 3. Not bad.
Yeah,
but I see they booed your closer off the mound today. Did you see that? Bedard?
Yeah.
Or Bedard?
Yeah.
Whatever he did. Yeah.
Bednar. Get his name right, David.
Yeah,
Bednar.
whatever. I had the Pirates. You know what? He's worse than that. I got to tell you, he's a lot worse than that when the lights go off here. You can't blow a 3-1 lead to the Tigers, for goodness sakes, in a ninth inning. At home.
It's baseball. It's relax. It's going to happen. These things are going to happen. They tied for the best record in the National League, tied with the Yankees for the best record going into baseball today. Yankees are a machine. I mean, I felt it. I saw Yankee stuff all over town when I was driving around. I mean, the Soto Shuffle thing is real. Everybody's buying in. Everybody's believing it. It's kind of annoying, to be personally honest, but that's fine. White Sox, bad team. Go against. The Guardians were just trailing 5-3 going into the inning in the sixth, and they tied it up 5-5. That's an in-game play. You probably missed the good number on the Guardians, but that was one. The Blue Jays just scored a couple runs against Seattle. They're threatening here again in the fifth. Can't make heads or tails of Seattle. So we're just trying to find out all these things. And like we said it last week on the show, I'm more trying to find out who the bad teams are, because we can consistently be going against the bad teams and trying to find out who's good or not. Like Milwaukee's up 5-1 against the Reds. Milwaukee's had a pretty decent start. Are they a good team? I'll make your sound. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah, a lot of people wrote them off, right? With Counselor going and trading Burns, and they were going to be one of the bottom feeders in the NL Central, which is an accomplishment in itself. But actually, they're playing well. Got a decent little NBA game. It doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot, but it is. I'll throw it out there just because you got the Bucks leading the Celtics 47-23 in the second quarter. Now Boston's got everything all locked up, so that, they're playing for nothing, but still. You don't see too many times where it says Boston Celtics plus 18.5 in a game in the second quarter. But Milwaukee's played so bad under Doc Rivers, and they lost a couple of games here to some bad teams. Lost to the Knicks last time out at home. They've lost to some bad teams, but they're putting together tonight for whatever reason. But still,
was this a system play?
Plus 18.5.
Yeah, was this a system play to play the Bucks today because the Celtics clinched everything? Like, was one of those games where you see the line in the morning and you're like, okay, why?
Right.
It's more of a guess than anything because you really have no idea who's playing. And Celtics fans, like our esteemed producer, Patrick, will tell you that, the Celtics games and this means everything. And the Celtics are complete either line through, don't bet, or bet against the rest of the season. As good as they've been, is 18.5 enough for you to go, okay, that's enough? I think we got to get more than 20.
I think we got to get more than 22. I do think they're going to make a run here. Everyone's playing for Boston. Everyone's playing for Milwaukee, oddly enough. The one game doesn't matter. Back after this.
Is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing a player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before.
Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Just getting underway. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time. We got it all tonight. We say that all the time, but it is true tonight. Not that it's not true the other nights, but we got a full slate of baseball, got a full slate of NBA, full slate of hockey. We'll throw our same-game parlays out there. We got a little black cloud. We'll recap our three-league parlay. And obviously, we'll keep you updated on all the games that are going on. Throw some bets out there for sure. So let's start, Dave. NBA, we got a couple of games here. First of all, I will say this. I already bit. FanDuel offered a bet on Luka, who had 21 points after the first quarter. Will he get 50 points and hit 10 threes? 8-1. In fact, I actually got it at 8.5-1 because it bumped up a little bit. So he tailed off in the second quarter. He's got 27 points and 6 threes. So I need 23 more points and 4 threes, and I cash an 8-1 ticket. Now, that's the good news. I'm more than halfway there, but they are blowing out Charlotte by 22 at halftime. So I wonder how much he's going to play second half. That's the issue.
The blowout gets you. That's the danger of that bet, right? The blowout gets you. Yeah. Listen, I'd rather be in your position than not have that many, things, right? Like this is a good thing that you're where you're at. So, we'll have something else to root for. We almost need a swish sound or something every time Luka makes a three or something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
Let's go. Bam.
Yeah. We got Minnesota playing Washington. This is a weird one. Listen, the teacups have been pretty good over the years, and Washington has been pretty bad over the years, right? But I will tell you, Washington, for whatever reason, 7-1, as you see there, against the spread versus Minnesota the last couple of seasons. And lo and behold, they're up to a 10-3 start. Now, obviously, early on, still getting 16.5 for Washington. That's almost more than what the opening line was, to tell you the truth, even though they're leading 10-4. I just put a couple shekels. Listen, 7-1 against the spread. I'm off to a good start. Give me Washington plus the 16.5. Why not?
Yeah, it closed 18.5 out here in the desert. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. There's only a couple games I'm even remotely interested in tonight in the NBA. So we'll keep an eye on it best we can. But good luck with that one.
All right. I'm guessing San Antonio and Memphis is not one of them.
No.
I will tell you, Spurs played good basketball, actually. They lost their last game, but in overtime to Philadelphia. Otherwise, and they didn't cover the spread, unfortunately, one of those overtime losses. But 6-1 against the spread, Memphis and San Antonio, they're just tipping off if you're interested in that one. Halfway decent one, Knicks and Bulls. New York lost to Chicago last week in Chicago. A little revenge game here, just underway, 6-2. Knickerbockers, believe it or not, on a nice little 8-0 over run. And they're predominantly an under team, but they are as streaky as it gets when it comes to over and unders. I've noticed that over the last couple of years. Chicago's strong under team. Both teams trying to feel each other out as far as positioning in the postseason. And Chicago, slight little favorite. Actually, no, they're an underdog, minus 5.5 on the Knicks.
Right. What do you make of the Knicks? What are they the second best team in the East? Let's just. I felt the vibe there while I was there for a couple of days and thought this would be really interesting if the Knicks can actually get this done. They have to have this game tonight. They're winning the game, right? Like this isn't one where you go, okay, the Bulls are going to upset them. I mean, they're this close to the 2 seed. They're right there. This is a game they have to have, and I hate betting on those, but Knicks don't get upset tonight, right?
I don't think so. You know, they, like I said, they lost to Chicago last week in Chicago, and yet the Knicks were a favorite tonight. Like, how come? You know, and they were a bigger favorite this game than they were the game, last week. So,
right.
It is crazy. I will say, Dave, for the fan, I really don't think the players care. I really don't. But for the fan who analyzes this thing and lives and breathes on every single game, I mean, you got the Bucks sitting there, right, at 31 losses, sitting in the number 2 spot. The Knicks and Orlando are tied for the number 3 spot with 32 losses. But then you could go all the way down to Philadelphia in the 7th spot, not even in the postseason officially, at 35 losses. I mean, you can make a case the Knicks could finish as high as number 2 or fall all the way down to number 7 if things go the wrong way. I mean, it's crazy how the last, really, this was the goal for the NBA to make some of these last season games meaningful, and they've done that at least for the fan. Again, players, I really don't think they care. I really don't. But the fans certainly having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, the fans are having a lot of fun with it. And listen, you'd rather play at home most of the time than play on the road. So teams that can control playing at home, I think, are going to try to play at home.
One more home game, though. That's the problem. Like, they're more worried about seeding, or they're more worried about who we playing. Like, we want to avoid the Celtics, or we want to avoid the Bucks. And if that means finishing 5th versus 4th, then so be it. I don't think they care necessarily because we have one more home game in a best of 7. I've long said this. What they need to do, they need to make it 5-2, not 4-3. You get home court advantage, you get 5 home games, not 4 versus 3. Make it 5 versus 2. Oh yeah, then maybe then the players would care. Yeah,
no, I don't think so. Players just show up and play whenever they're supposed to play. I don't know how you make the players care more. They want to play less games, period. I mean, we see what's going on in the basketball. They don't want to play more games. So now you want them to play more meaningful games. You want them to care. You know how you get people to care? You pay them. You pay them. Most of the time that works. Sometimes it doesn't. In a lot of these situations, they have these guaranteed contracts. They don't, they're not playing. The end of the regular seasons is what it is. I know booking them is not easy. Betting them is even harder. The book puts up a number, just lets the market tell you where to go. I don't know. I mean, look at the Orlando-Houston game. Unfortunately, Houston is out officially. You got a good run. That was a good bet. And they had a great number. And they're dogs at home tonight. They've been great at home all season, right? Computer says Orlando by 1. It's a coin flip game. You feel strongly at all about this game?
I've been betting against them, against Houston. The moment they lost to the Warriors, that were actually the game before that first Warriors game. But when they lost the Tuesday, I think it was, when Golden State had won at home against a decent team and the Houston Rockets lost, I think it was at Minnesota. And they went from 2 back to 3 back. And I said, that's it. They're done. So, and I've been going against them ever since, despite the trends. You're right, saying that they've been playing great. They're great against the spread at home. And it really is an anomaly in that if you're a trend player, you're playing Houston. But if you watch them play, they've lost and failed to cover 5 in a row. They're done. They waved the white flag. Love Dallas when Dallas played them. Love Miami when Miami played them 2 games ago. And I love Orlando again tonight. I don't know if this Houston Rockets team, maybe the last game of the regular season, maybe the last home game. Well, this would be the last home game. So maybe they do come up with a little bit of an effort last home game, but they got 3 games left. I would say bet Orlando. They got a whole lot more, right? If you just took the teams that are seemingly really playing for something, like Orlando, seeding-wise, versus the teams that aren't, like Houston, out of it, I would guess that's what the public is going to do, but I bet you, Dave, the public wins more than loses if they use that philosophy tonight.
I don't know. What do you do with the games? Like, how do you determine if a game means something? Denver's playing Utah coming up, at the bottom of the hour or at the top of the hour. That's the top. Yeah, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. What do you do with that game? I mean, does it mean something to Denver? It means nothing to Utah. I don't know.
Means nothing to Utah. Well,
Nothing.
Denver's fighting Minnesota for the top seed.
Right.
So it should mean something for them. Now, does that mean they're going to win by 20 points? Because the point spread's, in double digits. Then that's another thing.
16.
On the road. 16. I mean, wow.
Woo.
That's
a
what.
lot.
That's I'll use a phrase that you use. That's like FU money. Like we don't want any more Denver money.
That's it. That's it. We're
take
good.
Utah or nothing, right? Fine. All right, more coming up.
Is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing a player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. A lot to get to. A little baseball, a little NHL, a little NBA, a little Black Cloud, and how about a little same game parlay action? All right, we're going to go to the ice for this one. Pretty good matchup. We got Colorado versus Minnesota. At least halfway decent on paper anyway. Minnesota clinging to playoff hopes. Colorado obviously in, looking for bigger fish to fry as they want to improve their seeding. So we're going to go with a little 1, 2, 3, 4-leg parlay. It's not going to be a whole heck of a lot, but a win is a win just the same day, right? We're going to take the Avalanche to win in regulation, minus 145. They lost their last game at home against Dallas. I think they're going to be fired up for this one. I don't think Colorado's going to lose 2 in a row. I don't like playing against teams that are facing elimination like Minnesota is, but I'll take the Avs. If Colorado's going to win, chances to me are pretty good. They're going to get at least 4 goals, especially at home. So I'm going to grab Colorado over 3.5 goals. They allow us to do that. And then at home, you got to play Nathan McKinnon. He's been phenomenal. And the key is, to me, he did not score in the Dallas game. And you may be like, so what, Scott? Well, he's yet to go back-to-back home games when Colorado's playing back-to-back home games without scoring. So he's never gone 2 straight games when those 2 straight games have been at home without scoring a goal. So he didn't score last time. Chances are very good he scores tonight. And with that, I'm going to grab over 4.5 shots, which to any other human being is a ton of shots on goal, but not for Nathan McKinnon, Dave. He's hit 5 or more in 7 of his last 9 games. I mean, he's a 5-shot on goal machine. So give me that. Add it all up. Again, only 3.5 to 1, 357, but I'll take it because I think they're all kind of correlated.
Yeah, it is kind of correlated. So I ask you this every time we do this, and you do one of these every show that we do together. Which one gets you?
Boy, I guess the McKinnon goal, just because it's tough to score.
That's the one.
He'll get his shots. He's been getting them. I think they do win. And again, if they do win, right, the chances are halfway decent. They get 4 goals. So, yeah, McKinnon goal, right? Minus 132.
I like the over in the game. So I would expect them to get over the team total. Worried about him getting a goal. The shots is a real thing. The puck, there's guys that the puck finds, and then there's guys that find the puck. He does both. He's always moving, and he's on the first power play. Obviously, he's out there a lot, so his ice time is up. Can Minnesota win a game? That's maybe. That's the other one. I thought Minnesota, your left side is not the strong side, like in that movie where they said left side, strong side.
Right.
The football movie. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But
I keep on saying Friday Night Lights. It wasn't Friday Night Lights. It's the same movie.
Oh.
I know it's not it. But I know the movie.
Denzel Washington was the coach. Coach Herman Boone. Remember the Titans. Yeah. Remember the Titans.
There you go. Yeah.
Left side, not the strong side tonight. So I don't know. We'll watch it. That gives us something else to watch. We get the goal horn every time a goal scored in that game. We'll have the boys keep an eye on that. We'll get the goal horn blowing. That'll be fun. There's a couple of really good hockey games tonight. We got to keep an eye on in addition to this one. So I don't know.
Well, the biggest
Kings,
one,
Anaheim?
right? Well, the biggest one.
Seattle?
No. The big biggie, Calgary at San Jose. And you may say, I know it. Huh? Right?
I know it.
We got a little bit of a break. Let me tell you that St. Louis Blues franchise should just be kicked off the map of the NHL. You realize, Dave, that they are 0-3 against San Jose this year? 0-3 out of a possible 6 points. They have won against, by far, right, the worst team in hockey after being shut out by San Jose last week at home 4-0. They get a chance to extract revenge this weekend, and they lose again to San Jose.
Yeah, this is going to be a sweat. This is real. We got under how many points? We need under what?
48.5 points.
Right? Yeah.
Right. 48.5, 49.5. Yeah. Whichever one you got it under. So they got 44 now. Tonight's game is the biggie. This is the biggie. Yeah, huge. Calgary at home. If we can get a loss, then they would have to get 5 points or 6, depending on the number you got, over the next 4 games, 3 of which are on the road. And they're not getting 5-6 points on the road with 3 games. They're just not. So we need Calgary to step up big. There's your total. They got Calgary tonight at home, at Seattle, which is actually playing halfway decent, Minnesota, at Edmonton, and then at Calgary again. So if we can get a loss here, we'll be looking pretty good. But
this is a big game. And again, that's the fun thing about sports betting. You know, there's something you can make a big game out of nothing. You can find gold. The tickets all pay the same. You know, there's people like, oh, I don't bet on women's basketball. Okay, that's fine, but it pays the same if you bet on men's basketball. Right. If you win, you win. You know, so the juice is the same. I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know how many people are betting. But this is one we're definitely going to have to keep our eye on, the Calgary Sharks or the Calgary Flames against the San Jose Sharks. And who would have thought it? Looking at the board tonight, the first thing I did when I, looked at the rundown and stuff, I said, man, this is going to be great. We're going to talk about the Calgary-San Jose game. There's not many shows or people talking about this. This is our game. I looked at all these games. It's a Carolina-Boston. That's an under. That's still under. No score. That's good. Toronto-New Jersey. That's an over. Okay, we're going. That's fine. The Battle of New York, Rangers-Islanders. No. Give me the Calgary Flames in SJ Sharkey, San Jose. That's the game of the night.
How many people are paying attention to that? 5, 6 maybe, but there you go. And I tell you, we also need Seattle to win tonight, just because they've won 4 of their last 6. So they play Seattle next. So if they can beat Arizona, then they've won 5 of their last 7. Now they're officially eliminated from playoff contention, but they get that good feeling going. Let's finish the season on a high note, boys, rather than like keep on losing, and let's get the season over with. So, and they got this dude, Shane Wright, who was the 4th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago. They finally called him up. The guy's got 3 goals in 3 games. I don't know what they took him so long to call him up for. They couldn't score with a $20 bill at a cheap brothel house, for goodness sakes. And yet they took so long to get this guy to be called up, and he's got 3 goals in 3 games. So let's get him to score. And let's get Seattle to win this way. That they're playing for a little something when they take on Arizona a couple of days from now.
I don't know how much these guys look ahead when they're in the spot where they go, the season is over, right? When they're not playing for any playoffs spot, I think it's hard to factor in motivation. Let's just focus on tonight. Calgary Flames. Let's get about a 2-0 lead. Early, and then your train ride home is good. My dinner here out west is comfortable. I don't know how I'm going to explain to the wife and the little one, because the other 2 are back east in your neighborhood, where I got to watch the Calgary Flames and San Jose game. I'm trying to figure out how I can explain it. I'm going to have to tell the little one, look, you remember that guy? That guy, I told you call Uncle Scott when you see him. We need this. We need you to root for the Flames tonight. That's what we need.
All right. Philadelphia is down 5-0 to Montreal. What in the world? We did a little segment last week. What has happened to, and we listed a whole bunch of teams. Philadelphia, I think, was one of them, and they haven't won since. They've lost 7 straight. And here's the thing, and they're battling Washington and the Islanders for one of those final playoff spots we talked about earlier. Down 5-0. They've gotten 2 points in the last 7 games in a 7-game losing streak. Like sometimes you can lose in overtime, right? You pick up a point. They've gotten 2 out of a possible 14 points. And losses include games in this stretch, Dave, to Montreal before today. So they're going to get swept by Montreal, Columbus, Buffalo, Chicago, and the Islanders. I mean, they're not losing to Colorado, Dallas, Rangers, pick another really good team. They're losing to the dredges. I mean, what happened to this team?
Now, without knowing from being in the locker room, and I could call Jonesy right now. He's done my show a couple times, and I know him off the air for a while now. Something's happened in the room, right? It's just one of those things where like they're either not listening or they're like, the hell with this. Nobody's playing for each other. Nobody's playing for Tortorella. I was just in Philadelphia. These fans want them to miss the playoffs. They're like, I'm done with this team. I mean, I got guys that are like lifelong Flyers fans that are so bummed out. They're like, man, I don't know what happened, but they're going to get killed if they make the playoffs anyway. I don't even want them to make it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have they tuned out Tortorella already? Already? It's only been a couple of years, right?
Right.
The longer he goes, the shorter it takes for teams to say, that's it, we're done. Dallas is down 2-1 to Buffalo at home. Pick them. Minus 104. That's not a bad play, right?
Time to bet Dallas.
First
Did you
period.
see the eclipse yesterday?
No. It stayed light the whole time. I'm here in New York. It didn't go dark.
Dark in Philadelphia.
Really? Maybe I just live under the black cloud, so I'm used to it, right? Yeah, that's good.
I mean, is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I mean, I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing a player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back. InGame Live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan for another hour, 20 minutes or so, looking at everything, little NBA, little baseball, little hockey. So why don't we have some fun with our good buddy, joins us every Tuesday, George Kurtz, who I worked with this afternoon on Football Full Circle. What's going on, George? How are you tonight, bud?
I'm okay. Right, about to have a small heart attack, though, if the Islanders blow this 3-0 lead to the Rangers here. And at the Yankees, for the love of God, can we get a productive out here with the runner on third base? Get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs here. Just a bugaboo of mine. Productive outs.
Are you whining and complaining about the Yankees right now?
Yes, I am whining and complaining. I'm on the Yankees tonight, okay? And I don't need this should not be a 2-0 ball game here. This game should already be over. They're keeping the Marlins in it. Runner on third, 1 out, nobody out. Get a ground ball, gets the guy in. Sacrifice fly gets the guy in. Strikeouts don't get him in. They've been doing this for years. It frustrates me. Productive outs.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's baseball. George, relax. They got the best record in the American League. They get the best record. It's
best record in baseball,
I can't
right?
even believe you're complaining about this right now. I just can't.
I would think they're the best record in baseball there, Dave. You're selling them short.
Yeah, shortchanging them.
Pirates
by a game.
That's fine. The Pirates lost today. Okay, that's fine. What are you looking at tonight, George? Rays and Angels. Good seats still available. Apparently, you can go to this game for $5. You could sit right next to the field. But when you look at the number, I mean, the Rays are small favorites at the Angels. Okay. Any reason to take anything in this game, side or total?
Is there any reason to? Well, no, but that being said, we're going to do it anyway. All right. I was on the Rays last night, bid it, right? I think they lost, 6-1, 7-1, whatever it was. Trout hit another home run. Did you know that 63% of Trout's home runs have been solo shots? Just a little fun little stat there that I saw today.
Overrated. He's overrated. I'm not surprised.
I know. Well, he's overrated.
At all. Yeah. So overrated.
It sort of means that everybody else on the team sucks. It's really Ohtani.
He just doesn't come through when guys are on base. That then maybe, just maybe, that could be it too. But okay, go ahead.
Well, maybe they just pitch around him when guys are on base. Bill pitched to him when there's nobody on base. We can play this game all night long. That being said, I'm on the Rays tonight. I don't think the Angels can beat them twice. I think the Angels are a very good team, by the way. They may not be awful like their division mates, the Athletics there, or the White Sox, who actually are winning tonight too. But I don't think they're all that good here. So I'm on the Rays tonight. Medium play here to make even up the series at 1.
All right, we got Washington at San Francisco. This Wanadone guy who was brutal last year and figures to be brutal again this year. But the Nats did win, 8-1 last night? And they're actually 4-6, which for the Nationals is not too bad. Might be a long season for the Giants. We kind of respect them, or at least I do, for all the success they've had. But 4-7, even at home. Any thoughts on Nationals and Giants?
Well, this better not be a long season for the Giants, right? All the additions they made in the offseason. All right, you got the Korean import Lee there. They brought in Chapman. You brought in Soler. You brought in Snell. You signed him late. No shock that he bombed in his first start. I don't know if we're going to see the true Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, by the way, when he starts pitching until, I don't know, mid-May. This is really a spring training. You can't tell me that working out on the side is the same thing as spring training. You just can't tell me that. Throw into maybe high school is at best here. So no shock they got shelved last night. The Nationals are a bad team, and they got some bad news today. Josiah Gray was put on the IL with, what's the bugaboo right now? The old elbow UCL problem, right? You got to worry about him, that he needs a TJ surgery there. Once again, small play on the Giants here. To even up this series yet. They're just a better team than the Nationals. But I'll tell you, if they don't start playing better, all hell's going to break loose in San Fran. They finally spend some money, finally get some free agents, and they're still nowhere near competitive.
You don't get to ask this question too often. How does one come back in a baseball game after leading 8-0 and losing the game 9-8, like the Cubs did yesterday in San Diego? They come back tonight. Musgrove, small favorite. George, looks pretty easy, right? You just play the Padres, move on. And, Musgrove has a 2.05 ERA and 9 career appearances against the Cubs. This one is so easy. I mean, it says 56%. What? The Cubs? How could this smart projection pick the Cubs? It's Musgrove and the Padres, is it not?
That was a brutal loss for the Cubs last night. All right, you were 8-0 and you choke it up. Well, they got 7 runs in the 8th inning. I think it was, or something like that. That was just that was awful.
6, I think it was.
Yeah, just awful. Listen, those losses happen during a long baseball season. Of course, we're only on April 9th here. So you move on. What do they say? Momentum's the next day's starting pitcher. I'm not a big Musgrove guy, Dave. I'm not. I don't think he's all that great. I think he's a solid starting pitcher, but nothing special here. I kind of think we're going to get more runs tonight. I think we're going to get it again here. So I took the totally. I know it goes against the grain here, against the numbers here. But I don't think the Cubs are that same team either that Musgrove has pitched against a lot. They can hit. I think their problem is more pitching than anything else. So I played the total in this game. Give me the over.
Yeah, let's break this down a little bit, right? I mean, the good news is, you're only as good as your next day's pitcher, right? That's the good news for the Cubs. Bad news for the Cubs, the next day's pitcher has an ERA over 11, and he's a reliever. That's who they're sending out there. So, and the over-under is only 8. This guy can give up 8 runs in the first freaking inning. So, and why are the Padres at home only minus 136? I mean, this has got you-know-what written all over, right? Watch this guy throw like a no-hitter through 7, and the Cubs win 2-1, because these lines don't make any sense, George.
Hey, we didn't know who Renel Blanco was, right? 10 days ago. Who? Blanco? Yeah. Who? And he's throwing a no-hitter, pitched great the other I think he's had the most outs recorded without giving up a hit since like 1890 or something silly like that. So pretty wicked there. I'm with you, Scotty. That's one reason why I took the over. Is it a bullpen game, a bullpen guy here? The bullpen got pretty much shelled last night. I think, once again, they're going to get hit tonight. I think it's an over game. I probably lean more towards Dave's the Padres than the Cubs in this game. Maybe the Cubs have a comeback at the last night. I don't think baseball games are all that emotional, game in, game out. Maybe it was a rivalry game. Maybe if that was the Padres and Dodgers, and the Dodgers came back like that, the Padres would be a little whack tonight. But I don't think the Cubs are going to feel the effect of one loss, although as horrifying as it was to the Padres. I think they'll be okay tonight. Still, I'm on the over. My over is my favorite play tonight in that game.
Tell you what, baseball players are the least emotional, maybe, of all the athletes. I mean, they just literally game's over, dressed, come back the next day. Let's pivot to hockey, because there's a couple games that are, on the board left tonight, George. You would think that, we would lead off with the Minnesota-Colorado game, or, a dumpster dive into the Kings and Anaheim, which we can take a quick look at because it's minus 300. What in the world would you bet in this, George? But Wetzel and us, okay? There's one game that we're focused on. It's the last one. Calgary, San Jose, because Wetzel got us involved in taking the points under for the San Jose Sharks, and they couldn't beat. I mean, they actually did beat St. Louis last game. This is a laydown, is it not? Please say it is. Please say Calgary just wins easy tonight, right? It's done. It's over. Done. Good.
I hope so.
Yes.
I got them. Right, I'm on them. So Calgary better. Dustin Wolfson. I believe Dustin Wolfson net tonight, not Markstrom, so if that scares you a little bit. But I'm on them. It's in a parlay. All right, they got the old the Calgary Kings parlay tonight got going here, so we'll take a little late night action there. I think you can sort of throw Colorado in here too, by the way, if you want to get a little better price. I think Colorado beats up on Minnesota as well. That being said, I didn't put them in a parlay. I got the over in that game. I think we're going to get some goals here. Colorado's been giving them up. Right, I think Colorado's in a little bit of trouble here going into the playoffs, by the way. They can score, but, man, they're letting up goals. I don't think Georgiev is the answer there as far as getting him to the cup there. Tough little road. Probably playing Winnipeg round 1, then maybe Dallas round 2, and then who knows if you can get round 3.
To score tonight, I'm asking for a friend. Do you like McKinnon to score tonight?
It's at home. Of course I like McKinnon to score tonight. All right, definitely.
There we go.
I kind of like Kaprizov to score too, by the way. We hit on that the other day when we liked a bunch of anytime goals. And I think Kaprizov also lights the lamp for Minnesota. I think goals are coming tonight. So McKinnon, Kaprizov, no Rantanen, right? He's in concussion protocol, so we can forget about him. That'll hurt the Rockies a little bit. But maybe if you want to go for better odds, maybe in a Chushkin, a Lakeinen to score.
How about this guy? You're familiar with Shane Wright, George? He was the number 4 overall pick for Seattle in the 2022 draft. They finally called him up, which, Dave and I were joking. I don't know why it took him so long because Seattle was so desperate for goal scorers. But he's got 3 goals in 3 games. And FanDuel, anyway, has him. I don't know if other sites do, but they got him for plus 280 to score a goal tonight. Maybe throw him in there if he continues, against, mediocre at best, Arizona team.
I don't mind it. You said Arizona is mediocre at best, although their goaltending has been pretty good. All right. Aker and Vejmelka, they're both solid goaltenders, probably better than solid if they were on better teams. So that might scare me a little bit. I might like the over in this game, period. Once again, I do think we'll get some goals in this game. This game's, as far as betting it, if you want to bet the game, Seattle, Arizona, both teams. Seattle's been a disappointing team this season. Arizona's playing better of late. Little too late here. If I'm going to play an anytime goal scorer in this game, I'd probably go with Arizona, maybe go with Schmaltz, Keller. That'd be one of my choices there. They're really the only 2 guys who can score there.
George, are the Penguins going to make the playoffs? Washington is leading Detroit 2-0 after 2 right now. That's a good score for hockey. We'll, worry about the Penguins' next game is against Detroit, but any chance Detroit comes back in this game tonight? I don't think so. I think they don't look as done to me, obviously, as Philadelphia does. But who's going to make the bottom half of the playoffs? What are the wild card teams in the Eastern Conference in the NHL? Is it Washington and Pittsburgh? Does Detroit or Philly actually make it? What do you think?
Well, it's only one team will finish in 3rd place in the Metro, right? Either the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Washington, Philly, and the other team will be the wild card. Tampa's got 1 wild card all wrapped up. So the bottom line is this: it doesn't matter. I pick any of these teams: Islanders, Pittsburgh, Devils, Buffalo, Washington, Philadelphia. I'm sure I left out a team or 2. None of them are going anywhere in the playoffs. All right, they're all going to get destroyed by the Rangers or Boston, Florida, whoever they play in the first round. So that way, it doesn't matter. I think the Islanders are going to get in, assuming they don't choke this lead up. All right, it's a huge win for the Islanders if they can pull it off and hold them off in the 3rd period. That being said, if I was going to bet, I'd be betting on the Rangers in the 3rd period. Islanders' problem all season long, protecting 3rd period leads. It's been a small nightmare what they've done here. Pittsburgh, they're playing hot. If you're a conspiracy theory, the NHL would like. I don't believe this, by the way, but the NHL would like them to get in. Right, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, it's good for business. So as a hockey fan, I'd like to see him get in too. So I hope they get in there. I'm going to go Islanders and Pittsburgh. All right, as far as the last 2 teams. The Islanders get 3rd place. Pittsburgh gets the wild card here. But both teams have tough roads to hoe here. Right, Islanders have the Rangers again on Saturday. Islanders and Pittsburgh play each other next Wednesday there, Dave. That could be a winner get in.
It might be a winner get in, George.
Give me one winner, George. All teams trailing by 1 entering the 3rd. Devils, Islanders, or Devils, Rangers, or Bruins?
Rangers. Let's go. Islanders had trouble all season long. That's where I put my money. I'm not kidding. Islanders not good at holding leads here.
George, great job, my friend. We'll do it again next week. Good luck.
Is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16 seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing the player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan, closing out hour number one. Don't go anywhere because we got a full hour to go. And we're not even done with this hour because we got the Black Cloud, our play of the day, coming up. Yes. Normally I must admit, when I do a Black Cloud, it's based on trends and stats and this and that. And I love to throw at you during these segments, right, to kind of justify why we're doubling or even tripling the normal play. I don't really have all that. Just like the number just jumped off the page saying this is out of whack. So let's go to the NBA. Got a pretty good game. Golden State in Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. Lakers sitting in the number 9 spot, one game ahead of Golden State in the number 10 spot, which is huge because whoever gets the play-in game, in the 9 spot gets to host that play-in game. So this is a big game tonight, which is why I'm going to go under, Dave, 236, maybe 236 and a half. That's a lot of points. I know the Lakers are on a decent overrun, and they don't play defense at home especially. I get all that, but 240 points for a game that should have a playoff atmosphere. I will take my chances with the under in that one. I just don't think it's going to be up and down, especially with LeBron playing. If LeBron wasn't playing, then they wouldn't slow the ball and run up and down the court. But LeBron is playing, AD is playing, all the Warriors are playing. So give me the under 236 and a half, double your play, whatever that normally is. What do you think?
It's not bad. I like the over.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to the NBA in a couple days, so we'll see. They've played multiple times. I expect Steph to have a big night tonight. K-Dub's play of the day. Steph Curry's over. Number 3's made. 4.5 was the number. Sold me on it. I don't know. Listen, it finally stopped raining back east. There was a lot of rain. I hope you don't make it rain tonight with this one. All right?
Yeah. Let's hope not. Keep your fingers crossed.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is InGame Live Prime Time, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got baseball, full slate of NBA. We got a couple of games starting here in a little bit we'll get to, including a Denver and Utah. We got the NHL. And, so far, Dave, tonight, I tell you, if you're on the boys in Vegas' side, things not looking good, at least not with baseball when you think about it, right? Take a look at who's leading these games so far tonight. You got Milwaukee, Cincinnati. All right, that's a toss-up. Stankies are beating the Marlins, who have just one win. Everyone's on the Yankees, right? Mets are losing to the Braves. No way in the world people are betting the Mets after they won last night. Everyone's on the Braves. I would think they're leading. Houston, Kansas City. Who's betting the Royals, right? Nobody. Houston's leading. Dodgers in Minnesota. Everyone's betting the Dodgers, including us. Dodgers winning big. Philadelphia, St. Louis, that's an even one. Texas and Oakland, who's betting the A's? What dope is doing that, right? Nobody. Texas is leading 2-1. Arizona, Colorado, Rockies, maybe the worst team in baseball this side of the A's. Arizona's leading 3-1. I mean, there's not an underdog, like a real true underdog so far losing tonight. Does it continue?
No.
Never does, right?
No.
Well, sometimes you just have those nights, right? Sometimes you do.
Some nights this is what happens. Listen, I came in my finest Kansas City stuff today. This is one of those throwback. Yes. Yeah, this is one of those.
Little George Brett practice.
Yeah. I wish it was George Brett. It's Bo Jackson. It just has the number on the back, but the old Kansas City logo. As the book, you have what just happened to be one of the most ridiculous, chalkiest NCAA basketball tournaments, right? UConn did not cover a game in 2 years. 6 last year, 6 this year, 12-0 ATS, blowing teams out, and then it kind of just rolls, right? It just rolls right into the baseball, and favorites winning in baseball. It's fine. It's all going to change. It's all going to change for the books. There's no sympathy for the book. There never is. Not that there should be. They're open for business. They come back the next day. They put the lines up, welcome you in, and say, boy, can we get to the playoffs? We just want to get to the playoffs. This is usually the day when a lot of guys in the business take a vacation, and they say, call me when the NBA playoffs start. I'm going away for a couple of weeks. I don't need to see this. I don't want to be around this. It's hard. It's hard booking the games because this is when, I tell you guys all the time, like this is when you get them early in the season before anything's really established. This is when the lines are off a little bit because you see it in the basketball. It's coming down to the end of the season. You want that number. You want to show up to the window today and play the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Washington Wizards? Sure. It's 16.5 or 17. How do you feel about that? There you go.
Crazy. You mentioned UConn. Let me throw this out there before we get to the games. The numbers are just phenomenal. And I was saying this, all throughout the week, and nothing everyone was, for the most part. Although I did laugh when people were saying on Twitter, oh, yeah, I love Purdue. How could you love Purdue, right? I mean, really, how could you love Purdue? UConn's numbers, Dave, are just off the chart. Just off the chart. 24-4 their last 28 neutral site games. So not just the NCAA tour, 24-4. You mentioned it, 12-0 straight up and against the spread last 12. Not only that, Dave, which is what I pointed out. You could win. That's great. You could go against the spread. That's great. You could win by double digits. That's great. They did all that. But not only did they do all that, in these 12 games, no team was in a position to foul at the end of the game. Teams are down 11, 12, 13. They're going to foul with 2 minutes left, right? Send them to the free throw line. These teams were getting blown out. Nobody even did that. That's how far ahead UConn was in these games. How about 41-14 against the spread their last 55 games? 41-14. How about 46-18-1 against the spread after a win? And this might be my favorite one. UConn, 33-1 straight up, 29-5 against the spread in non-Big East games, including 22-1 as a favorite. I mean, they're just a covering machine, and that's again why I laugh when people say, "Oh, I love Purdue." You can take a hunch if you want to, okay, I'm going to go against the grain. But to say you love Purdue, I mean, come on, please. Their numbers are amazing.
That were in a contest, and they needed Purdue to win the contest, and they sent me a text and said, "What should I do?" I said, "You better hedge. You better hedge.
Yeah.
You better go bet UConn for as much as you can." And they're like, "What do you mean you feel that strong about it?" I said, "What's not to feel strong about? Like, how do you not like this team to win that game yesterday?" I don't know. Again, it looks like, I call it the 2020 club. Everybody has 2020 vision after the fact. Okay, that's fine. But that team, you just gave out ridiculous numbers. It's one of those ones you can't make the number high enough. It wasn't like they were, against the spread 12-0 in the tournament, laying, 4, 3.5. Right. They're laying 12. They're laying 13, laying 15. I mean, every game. It covered both the 116 games where the line was 25. So,
yeah.
If you were Hurley, would you even think about leaving? Like, why would you go to Kentucky? There's no way in the world I would even consider it. I'm good.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about him, he's an easy guy to root against. He didn't exactly humble himself last night. When he's going on stage and telling the world college basketball goes through UConn. Come on, please. Do you need to say that? And then he said, I won't grill him on this because I don't know if he wasn't clear on what he was saying, but he was talking to TNT, I think it was, or whoever, and he said, well, UConn was clearly the number 1 team this year, and Purdue was clearly the number 2 team. And, I said, well, he's not saying UConn and Purdue were the best 2 teams and we should be playing each other. He made his point of saying that afterward. I don't know if he kind of talked out of context but it came across as being a real pompous ass. He's yelling and screaming every single call. It's like, stop, shut up. You're up 15. Will you please get on the bench? They should have teed him up last night.
He's coaching.
Coaching my ass. I would have teed him up. He's lucky I wasn't officiating that game. Tell you that.
You'd have teed him up? Would you have teed him up?
I would have teed him up. Denver, Utah. Who do you got? Give me a choice. Who cares? Not a lot. Laying 15.5 on the road or not? They tip off here short.
No way. Can't do it.
Can't do it, right?
Over? Yeah. Over?
Maybe over.
I'm guessing. I have a coin flip.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's a coin flip. Yeah. Hope Jazz start off well and the line lowers. So we'll do some golf talk. Brady Cannon, join us next.
Is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing a player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live, prime time, right here on the grid, hour number 2. We got baseball, we got hockey, NBA. We'll put that all aside for a second as we have probably the most prestigious golfing event. I think it would be pretty close. It'd be interesting if you asked the golfer, if there was one tournament you could win, which would it be? I think the Masters would outdo the U.S. Open, but I've had debates about that. I thought it would be the Masters hands down, but a lot of people say no to the U.S. Open. But regardless, we have the Masters starting on Thursday in Augusta, Georgia. So our good buddy Brady Cannon joins us now to talk a little golf. What's going on, Brady? How are you tonight?
Well, I can tell you from experience, Scott, I wore my green jacket for you guys tonight. I think the Masters is absolutely – it was the most important one for me to win anyway. I won it in 85, and no one recalls because Jack, he just trumped everything, win it in 86. So – yes. I'm kind of the forgotten man, and I didn't get my invitation to the Champions Dinner tonight either. So, but
does the jacket still fit from 85? The jacket still fits, BK?
Very good. I've had it tailored a number of times over the years.
That's fine. You gotta let that thing out a little bit. Well, let's get right to it. Like, there's not enough going on, right? We're coming off the national championship. It rolls right into Masters week. I can tell you this. It's the most bet on golf tournament of the 4 majors. It's the first one out of the gate. It's not like it's starting off with the best one. But, Brady, I tell people this all the time. We all know the holes. Like, we all know the course. It's the only one that's played at the same place every single year. But the course can play differently from hour to hour, from day to day with the weather, right? Like, this is a fun one to handicap, and I think there's so much opportunity for bettors, right?
You're exactly right, Dave. Because it is the same course year in and year out, not only are we so familiar with it, but so are the players. And you have the strongest course history here over any other tournament they play all year long. You just look at guys that continue to perform well at Augusta year in and year out. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, in 2019, Tiger winning. I don't know if he won because he was in great form or he was ball striking or he was putting. Half the reason he won is because he knows that course so well. Freddie Couples shoots 71 to open up last year's Masters, and he makes the cut. Phil Mickelson finishing second last year. It's because these guys perform well here year after year, and they know this course so well. Now, Augusta National has tried to keep up with the times and the changes in technology and the way the game is going, and they've lengthened it actually a little bit this year. So all the way out to 7,550 yards, over that by a touch, I believe. So it's its usual beast self as far as being long. You've got to be long off the tee. You have to take advantage of the par fives. You got to be able to hit iron shots in both directions, off uneven lies, below your feet, above your feet. And then on top of all of that, you got to be able to handle the pressure, and you have to have a magical short game. I think it is, it says something a lot about the course, where the other majors are nomadic. They switch from course to course every year. It says a lot about Augusta National when it contests the very best in the game year in and year
out. And last check, Brady, 89 golfers going to be competing in the Masters, and maybe they add a couple or delete a couple, but, roughly 90 golfers. And yet the favorite, this is why I never got into horse racing seriously. My brain just couldn't get into, there's 12 horses in the field, and I'm only getting 4-1 odds. Scotty Scheffler, point being, 89 golfers in the field. He's the odds-on favorite at plus 450. That is crazy. You get 90 other or 88 other golfers who could win this thing, and I get it. He's better, but I can't ever remember Tiger Woods being this low. Do you? Maybe you remember back, 20 years ago in Tiger Woods' heyday.
He was
I don't think he was ever this low, right?
Yeah, there was some majors. There was some majors where he was like even money. I remember, Dave, and you probably do too. If he was like 2-1, that was a green light. But you're exactly right, Scott. This is the shortest price since Tiger's heyday. And Tiger was actually even a little bit shorter, when he was kind of at the end of his peak. He was maybe plus 350 or something like that.
But this is absolutely was Tiger Woods, right? That was Tiger Woods because it was Tiger Woods. Like, we all wanted to bet Tiger. Like, I don't think Scotty Scheffler, like, we got to bet Scotty Scheffler because he's the greatest thing in the world. A lot of that was just the Tiger Woods mania versus Scheffler is based on, expectations for him to really win, right?
Well, I think you're partially correct. I mean, there is definitely Tiger mania. The world fell in love with him. And when you're looking at, 2007, whatever, that's 10 years removed from when he won his first major championship at Augusta National. So, yeah, there had been some time built up there to fall in love with the man. Scotty's relatively new, but the way he's going, it's very Tiger-esque, and the odds have now matched it. You know what's interesting, though, and Dave, you kind of touched on it. This is actually one of the more easier golf tournaments to handicap when you think about it, because, Scott, there's not 89 guys that can win this thing. There's really only about 35 or 40. You've got a bunch of amateurs in this field who probably aren't going to win it. You've got a bunch of former champions like the aforementioned Mickelson and Couples who probably aren't going to win it, Vijay Singh, that type of thing. And you've got debutantes, guys that are playing here for the very first time. Now, there's a couple of them that have a good shot, but for the most part, you're talking about guys that, won the 3M Open in Minnesota or something like that, and, they get on this big stage. You haven't had a debutante win here since 1979. So by the time you get through all that, there's about 35, 40 guys, and some people might argue it's only 25 guys that can win this thing. So maybe Scotty's odds at 4-1 are a little bit more accurate or easier to swallow when you think about it that way. But the truth is, in my thinking, I do believe it's too short. I think Scotty ought to be closer to 6 or 7, maybe plus 750. But what it creates is a little more value on some of those other guys like Rory and Rahm and what have you on down the board.
Yeah, it definitely does. And there's people, like I have Aunt Mary Jane, my wife's aunt, sends money for me to bet on Freddie Couples every single year because she loves Freddie Couples. There's people that will come in and bet on these guys that have no shot to win, Brady. I try to tell them, I think the number's 10. There's usually about 10 guys that you really think they can win. You got top 10s. You got outrights. Give us something. Give them something for the people. We got all these great graphics. Just fire away because I got another question for you, and it's off the radar a bit. So Get to this information now, please, sir.
Well, I'm a little bit like your Aunt Mary Jane in the fact that I love Fred Couples. And way back when, I used to bet him every year, too. And I'd have him at, 100 to 1 or something like that.
Right.
And twice I had the sucker in the final pairing on Sunday, but he didn't come through for me. But
so did she.
Anywho, fast forward to 2024. I've got 7 guys in pocket, and I started off, and this is, because like we're talking about here, Dave, 10, 25, 40 guys that can win this thing. It tends to be pretty chalky. I went with Xander Schauffele. I got him at 18 to 1. I've seen him as low as 12. The next best or the next shortest price player, I took Jordan Spieth at 22. I've actually seen him go the other way a little bit. I've seen 23, 24, maybe 25. I took Will Zalatoris, and I thought I was getting a good number way back when at 28. He's now up to about 38. It's kind of like betting the Super Bowl winner. The Masters odds are up on the board for so long. You might think you're getting a good number one day, and then, come the 1st of April, and that number is no longer any good. So, you play a guessing game there. But I took Hideki Matsuyama, got a good number there at 29. And then a couple of longer shots. I took Tony Finau at 47 and Shane Lowry at 70. I might have missed one guy there. I'll have to check my notes, but we can get back to that in a minute. I know you had another question. Let me check and see if I've got another here guy for you. Oh, Joaquin Niemann. There's my one live player. I got Joaquin Niemann at 31 to 1.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Brady. Good job.
Is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing a player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. 25 past the hour. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan. Talking a little golf with the Masters starting in a couple of days. So Brady Cannon joins us for a couple of more moments before we get some big news out of the Baltimore Orioles camp that should make Oriole fans pretty happy. But we're kind of rushed there for a moment there, Brady. So why don't you just recap again the guys that you like in the Masters?
Yeah, absolutely. Outright plays on Xander Schauffele to win the Masters, Jordan Spieth, Will Zalatoris, Hideki Matsuyama, Joaquin Niemann, Shane Lowry, and Tony Finau. I played a top 10 finish also on Xander, and then played the rest of the guys for a top 20 finish as well.
Listen, you got all dressed up in the green jacket. You're my favorite ball striker. We got to have the ball strikers on the show this week. So I have one more question for you. The hole-in-one prop for the Masters is different than the hole-in-one prop for any tournament. It is so much fun. I remember putting it up and going, it's plus money. Like to get a hole-in-one, the whole tournament, it's hard. It was a small plus money, but people started betting it, and then it started to happen every year. I'm going through the numbers on FanDuel right now before, we're getting ready to, me and you get in a cart and go around the course here for 18, so to say. The tournament hole-in-one prop is now minus 230. Will there be a hole-in-one?
Whoa.
Is minus 230, Brady. Now, will there be two hole-in-ones? It's even money.
Oh, my goodness.
How good are these guys? Is there going to be, is this just like bet it? Like you just bet the hole-in-one now like it's automatic?
When you said it used to be small plus money, I remember that. And I would think maybe today it's even money or maybe minus 115, minus 230. Wow.
Yes.
The thing is, though, that 16th hole, maybe my favorite hole on the entire golf course, just a wonderful par 3. The pond to the left there, the grandstands on the left, They come off of 15 where maybe they made birdie or eagle. And we've seen Greg Norman dump it in the water there. We've seen Xander Schauffele dump it in the water there. But where that pin is on Sunday, there's a couple days out of the 4 days where that pin, the ball just funnels right towards the hole. So it's absolutely possible. I think, and you know this, Dave, as a former bookmaker, there's probably a lot in that price that is pointed towards fans that just want to bet on they want to bet on, excitement. But the odds of it happening are pretty good too nowadays. And again, especially at that 16th hole, I believe. And then you've got three
minus
other par threes where it might happen too.
Brady, it's minus 135 to have a hole-in-one in round 4. So exactly what you said, right?
Yeah.
It's minus
that might be
135
the easiest day to do it.
For half the field. Half the field's gone.
Right. That's
by
crazy.
Sunday. So
I would probably rather bet the minus 230, Dave, because there's another day too. I think I want to say it's Friday. The Friday pin placement, if I recall, is pretty accessible. And then the Sunday, and obviously Friday, you've got twice as many players. I'd probably rather bet that one than on the final day.
Brady, good job. I'm not sure if we're going to check in with you again tomorrow, but if you got time, you're more than welcome to come on. We can go over some of these specials because I love betting these things more than I do the actual golfers themselves. So, but do appreciate it. I know you're busy. Enjoy it, and then we'll check it again down the line for sure.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for sure.
Okay,
thank you,
there
sir.
You go, Brady Cannon. Join us. That is pretty wild. Laying because I used to bet that all the time, and I would bet the no. Right, and it would be even money or so, or you can lay a couple. Now you got to lay 250 for the yes, as you were talking about. That's crazy.
When we started to put that up, that was really hard to price because you got to price it based on the actual chances of it happening, but then you have to price it based on what people are betting. People couldn't wait to bet that prop. That's a fun prop because when you win, that's a hole-in-one. That's a big moment on a course. Speaking of which, have you ever had a hole-in-one golfing? Have you ever had one?
I have. Believe it or not, it was
You
the
have a
ugliest
hole-in-one?
shot. Well, I've done it all. It was one of the ugliest shots I ever had. It was a par 3, obviously, about 120 yards, no downhill, right? So I take out my driver, as I was back then. I used to hit my drivers off tee shots, no matter what the hole was, right? Yeah, don't ask. But I used to have it down pat though, right? So I skimmed this one. It goes down a hill. It goes up an embankment, rolls down the embankment, and I swear it rolls right into the cup. Boom.
I can't
Hole
believe
in
it.
one.
I
Yeah.
had a hole-in-one too, but we got to tell the world, that Jackson Holiday got called up by the Baltimore Orioles today. Gigantic news in the world of baseball. Baltimore Orioles rolling. They just lost 2 or 3 in Pittsburgh over the weekend, by the way. That must have been enough to set them off and said, call the kid up. So
yeah,
that's a big deal. Listen, the Yankees are setting the pace in the American League East. They usually keep down the prospects until after, but the Yankees are the favorites now. Look at that. Who's running these numbers? Everybody relax. I mean, the Yankees.
Wow.
Wetzel, do you agree with this? Do you make the Yankees the favorite already?
I certainly wouldn't agree with the Red Sox being at the bottom. I think Tampa Bay's going to have a season-long struggle. They're better than Tampa Bay. And they're better than Toronto, or at least just as good. Baltimore, I don't know, and we'll see if the Yankees go out and spend some money. So this guy, I tell you what, if I was drafting, now he's Matt Holliday's son. If I was drafting, and they have 5,000 rounds to each draft, I would get every superstar player, every Hall of Fame player that's got a kid playing baseball. I draft every single kid, every single one. I mean, baseball, unlike other sports, like how many NBA players have sons in the NBA? Football, not too bad, right? Hockey, none. I shouldn't say that. Hockey's got a few. But baseball just seems like every kid had a father that was playing in Major League Baseball. This guy's hitting 323 in the minors. 500. He's a 323, 442, 499 clip, whatever all that other stuff is. Figure it all out. But he was the number 1 overall pick 2 years ago. They could have sat on him, right? They didn't wait till the deadline, so this year's going to clearly count. Most teams will say, no, you got to stay there because we don't want this year to count because we only have access to you so many years control, right? But credit the Orioles, they said no to that, and they brought him up. So how many fantasy leagues are trying to pick this kid up, right? We'll see if he really is a superstar, but
we'll see. Number 1 pick, 2 years ago? Because last year was Paul Skeens. Yeah,
right.
Paul Skeens was the number 1 pick for the Pirates, and he's pitching lights out down in Indianapolis. I think I'm headed there soon to go watch him pitch in person before the Pirates call him up. But they're not calling him up anytime soon because they're cruising. They're 9-3, top of the division. They're going to wait as long as possible. I think him being called up and thinking about it without talking to anybody directly in the organization is a move to try to push to keep up with the Yankees. I think the Yankees' quick start may have accelerated this move. All right, we got to get back to it. You hit a driver on a par 3 and you got a hole-in-one? I don't even understand this. I can't. Is there video of this anywhere? Was anyone with you that can verify this story?
Yes.
I had a hole-in-one. I hit a nice 9-iron, 139 yards. There's 128 yards, actually, 129, I think it was. I got a big plaque. 1 bounce, 2nd bounce, right in the hole. Could see it the whole way. Could you see yours the whole way?
Yeah, because I saw it go up the hill. I shot it way to the left. I almost shanked it. And it, like I said, rolled down this hill. And we were elevated T, and it went up the hill and then rolled down. And all of a sudden I saw it disappear. And I'm like, did that thing go in the hole? I'm thinking it's going to go into the woods or something. And yeah, so I never quite understood why I had to buy people beers when we went to the bar afterwards. It's like
it's an unbelievable,
I got the whole
strange
shouldn't
tradition.
you be buying me the beers? We got this backwards here, guys. Yeah, I'm the one that should be celebrated. Why am I buying you beers? I'm the one that got the hole-in-one.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. We got young guys, working, producing the show to golf. I know Foster's a big golfer. We got a couple other kids that really, keep playing, boys. It's a special thing. You could go a lot of years without getting one. Sunday at the Masters, it sounds like there's going to be a hole-in-one. That's 135. You got to lay 135 for what's the top? The Masters is what? Top 50 plus ties, right? So you get 50 guys.
Yeah, right.
To take a shot, maybe 54 guys. 1 in 54, and you get to lay 135 for the price of that. That means the green must be set up. The odds makers at least think that there's going to be a hole in one on Sunday.
I got a lot of bets. We'll talk about it tomorrow a little bit more. I got a nice little strategy because the Masters is different than most. There's less golfers. You don't have to be within 10, unfortunately. They took that away. But,
right.
You know, if there's 89 golfers and Brady's telling us that 9 are just amateurs that really have no shot, there's really probably only 80. And it's considering it's ties, about 55 of the 80 are going to make the cut. So
right.
I got a nice little strategy. Let me ask you about the Holiday. You know, is he a big enough name where that's going to change line? Like I'm seeing that tomorrow's game against the Red Sox is picker, which is basically what it was. I don't even know if the kid's playing tomorrow. But is that going to move the needle at all with the boys in Vegas or not really?
Nope. Nothing.
No, right?
Zero. Won't have any effect. You know, it's
right.
a good move for the team. It's a good move for overall. Anytime you get another bat in the lineup, young guy, listen, I think it would make me pay more attention to the future odds, division, pennant, because I can't believe they're already not the favorite.
Right. That's Yankee money, right? Yanks doing well. Doesn't take much. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
I mean, is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I mean, I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing the player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan for another 20 minutes as we check out what's happening with the boys in Vegas. And let's go back to the NBA slate here, Dave, for a couple of minutes after spending some time with the golf. And we'll check out the hockey, obviously, and baseball as well. Washington, right? We brought this up before. This goofy Wizards team couldn't beat Topeka High on its worst day, somehow or another, leading at Minnesota. 87-85. I mentioned they're 7-1 against the spread against the Teacups over the last couple of seasons. Go figure. And they're doing it again tonight. They were getting 16, what do you say, 17, 18 before the game. It was 16.5 when they jumped out to that early lead. It's down to 6.5 now. Now you get yourself a nice fat little middle if you did take Washington at 16.5. So that's not too bad. I would think Minnesota would win this one. Boy, if they lose, if they're battling for first place with Denver, and Denver, should beat Utah later on. If they lose this game at home to Washington, it's just another example of how you can't take these teams seriously. In the end, it's going to be Denver going to the Western Conference Finals, I think. But anyway, that's a 1-point game. You got Atlanta, 1-point lead over Miami. Pretty good game in the East with 2 minutes left to go. That line is now just locked up. Knicks leading at Chicago, 94-88. Point spread is 6.5 there. Didn't like that one. Houston actually coming to play. Leading Orlando, 90-78. I'm a little surprised with that. And Denver off to an early 40-31 lead over Utah among the other games. So anything jump off the page in-game live with some of these NBA games? I know you're not paying too much attention towards it. Yeah.
Not at all. I'm so focused on the hockey that I'm allowing you to keep an eye on that basketball. I'm watching. Montreal has 9 goals against Philadelphia. Wow. It's 9-3 in a hockey game. Rangers and Islanders locked in a battle, 3-2, 3 minutes left. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those ones, the Rangers. I was hoping the Islanders were going to win. The Rangers were going to win, but this is not good. Tampa's doing what they're supposed to do against Columbus, 5-2. 2 minutes to go in the game. Dallas came back. We told you that in the first hour. It was time to bet Dallas against Buffalo. So they've taken the lead. 3.5 minutes to go in the second period. Winnipeg is up 3-1 after 2 against Nashville. Another team I can't figure out. You're talking about trying to figure out a team.
Right.
Like in the NBA right now, Winnipeg is that team for me. I cannot figure, are they a play on or a play against? I think it's going to totally depend on their playoff matchup and the path they have to go. I can't. I got to stay focused. We only got a couple more. This second to last segment of the show. I can't wait to watch the Sharks. I just went down and told my daughter in between breaks. I said, "You know who we're watching tonight?" I said, "Guess what?" She goes, "Are the Knights playing?" I said, "No, better. San Jose Sharks." She's like, "What?" So we have under the season win total. She's like, "I'm not even listening to you." I said, "Well, turn on SportsGrid and watch us on the show. You'll understand it's okay. Now, if you're watching, that's what we're doing. We're going to get pizza. We're going to watch. The San Jose Sharks. I don't know, Scott. Like seriously, the Lakers, Golden State. That's the game of the night, right? Like that's the game left. Where Clippers and Phoenix was one that I was looking more forward to. But I don't know what we're getting from the Clippers tonight. All right? Did you see the line move? So the Suns are now -10. They're -10 here in Vegas. So that tells me the Clippers have, kind of mailed it in pregame. More importantly, I just clicked refresh on my odds screen. Golden State is now 2.5-point favorites. It was Lakers favored all day. Yeah, who ain't playing? We got to get an alert. I need to know this information. I need the injury information. The game tips at 7:10 Pacific. Somebody ain't playing for the Lakers. Is it LeBron? Is it AD? Somebody ain't playing.
Yes. It's a big game, too, because
you would think
9-10, right? And if you look at the standings, if Golden State were to win, they would then tie the Lakers in the standings, but they hold the head-to-head tiebreaker with a win tonight because they would have won 3 of the 4 games. So in essence, they would be in the number 9 spot, and it's like, who cares, Scott? Well, again, that means that you get the home field or home court advantage in that 9-10 game, which is big because you don't want to fit into the 10 spot. That means you got to win that 9-10 game on the road. Then you got to face the loser of the 7-8 game, which would be on the road as well. So, at least this way you get at least one home game in this goofy scenario. So I'm surprised. I'll double check here, guys. Look that up. See if maybe that's just bettors, just betting. But I got to tell you, Lakers are to me the play. If you look at the stats and trends, again, the Lakers been playing. Both teams playing great. I'll grant you that. But LA at home, they're 9-2 overall. Their last 11. They're 6-1 straight up and against the spread against Golden State at home, as this game is for them. So, you should get the A game out of both. And I guess they're just thinking, Dave, the bettors are saying, you know what? We think Golden State's A game is better than the Lakers' A game. I have my doubts about that in LA, but I guess that's, without knowing if someone's missing, one of the guys who are playing, that's what that's telling me.
I used to do a show called Reading Between the Lines. And if anybody wants to steal the name of that show, just credit me that at least you heard me say it first. But Reading Between the Lines, from sitting and taking bets with these screens and all these years, somebody ain't playing. That wasn't line movement based on action. You don't go from 2.5 on one side to 2.5 on the other without something happening. So it's really only 2 points, but it's 2 down, 2 up. So that's a big move. There's something going on with that game. What about the game that nobody's talking about the rest of this evening? New Orleans is laying 2 touchdowns at Portland. New Orleans is playing for something too. 14.5. Even a Smart Moves NBA projection computer only picked them by 7.
I got it real quickly.
What?
AD is out. AD's out.
Surprise. Oh.
Yeah. LeBron is in. Flu-like symptoms, but he's playing. What a tough guy. AD's got a headache and not feeling well, so he's not going to play tonight. Are they pampered? A headache? Take some Excedrin. Nausea? Just throw up. Stick your finger down your throat, throw up, and get it out of your system.
Whoa.
Can't play 15 minutes? Really? Playoff hopes on the line?
They're in the playoffs. Wow. They're in
the postseason.
Well,
they're in the play-in.
They're in the
different than the playoffs. Don't bet them to make the playoffs because that's not necessarily the case.
Lose the battle.
I get it.
Lose the battle. Win the war. Isn't that the saying? Lose, right? We got to worry about, in a couple of weeks when we're in those 1-game eliminations. The Lakers are playing in the 1-game elimination process, and they're probably going to have to win 2. So, does tonight mean that much at home against Golden State? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not saying that everybody shouldn't play when they're supposed to play and all that other stuff. I'm just saying the line movement indicated that there was something up. Didn't need no injury report. It was either him or LeBron wasn't playing. So now we know. We're just trying to make people, what's the saying? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid if you're paying attention. We're trying to give you nuggets and stuff to use, not telling you to push the buttons here or there, whatever. Good luck. I think that's an in-game. That's an in-game play. You need the black cloud. We need under. Do you feel better about the black cloud now? No AD?
I do now. Yeah. Not that he's going to, walk the ball at the court with AD playing, but yeah, a little bit. Who's going to score for them? LeBron has shown he can't score. So, and that over/under, did it move at all? Moved the 1.5 down to 234.5 from 236.
No, it's back up to 236 out here in the desert.
Oh,
so they're playing the over because no AD to play defense.
Defense.
That's the thought process. Again, I'm just telling you where they're going to bet. That doesn't mean it's one way or the other. But
I tell you what I would do.
What?
And let me just double check and see if they spiked his numbers. They did. They spiked LeBron's numbers to 26.5. I gotta listen. This is not LeBron from yesteryear. He's not a big time scorer anymore. I don't think. I know the philosophy. Okay, he's got to pick up the scoring, but I've seen way too many situations where you think, okay, now he's going to have to step up. I don't think he will. I'd play his assists. Believe it or not, I think he defers a lot more. Believe it or not, I don't think he's going to get to 27 points. It was 24.5, and they, you got to pay a premium. But I don't. Oh, LeBron, absolutely, he'd go for 35 tonight. I don't think he goes for the 27 tonight. I really don't.
Okay. We'll see. That's interesting way to look at it. I tend to agree with you, but again, he's closer to the end, obviously, than the beginning. He's very close to the end. Like, he's hinted at it. And over the weekend, Bronny announced he's going to the draft. I mean, what? I was so shocked when I heard that. I was in between traveling back and forth between Jersey and Philly, and somebody sent me a text that said, "Where's Bronny going to get drafted?" I said, "Wherever LeBron tells him to draft him," right? I don't know. Maybe this will be it. Maybe they'll have one more little playoff run. I'm not buying it. I'm just not. I don't see it.
I spoke too soon about all those baseball favorites, winning that are supposed to be winning. Don't be me. A's tied up the Texas Rangers, which is pathetic. Royals tied up the Astros, which is pathetic.
There we go.
Mets are making a comeback. Yeah, Mets are making a comeback. Now 6-3, they're only down against the Braves. And yes, your Royals. Why did you like Kansas City tonight? Just because you did?
Home dog. No, there's a lot of things Royals. Like there's things going on in the space, like people in the content space. I mean, you have to justify your bets and justify your position. I told someone this over the weekend when I was talking. I said, took bets for 25 years. Guys bet $500,000. I never asked why they were betting it. I just took the bet, and we moved the number, and that was it. One of those situations tonight. Kansas City, make the line pick them. You see plus 125, you take it. That's why I like Kansas City tonight. Thought they were live.
All right, do me a favor here. Again, okay. Did Buffalo have a goal disallowed? Because I saw 3-3 before. Now it says 3-2.
Hold on.
I know you said they had scored, and they did, but
it's 3-2. I have 3-2 after
right?
2.
All right, so that's good. That's good. Avalanche scored already, 1-0. Less than 4 minutes in against Minnesota.
Now we just need SGP.
Yeah, now we need McKinnon to score.
That's next. And we get 3 minutes in the last segment.
Preds plus 870. Man,
no.
Nashville's in the tank as well, right? Good thing we didn't do that.
Just when you thought they could come back. Do we have the graphic? We are live with our championship parlay. We got a root
we are live.
Home. We got 3 teams to root for.
We'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll review our 3-league, 3-team round robin parlay. It pays about 4-1.
I mean, is it pretty much cut and dry that NC State is the biggest surprise of the weekend? I mean, I don't think anybody's bracket had the Wolfpack going this far.
I think they're going to find a way to keep this one close. And we all know Purdue's tournament history under Matt Painter. They've had a lot of early exits when they've been good teams, and maybe this is the time they'll exercise their demons. It's kind of like when Virginia lost to that 16-seed UMBC.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The fact that I've been able to move to a home that I'm very excited about is it's really cool, and so far just love everybody that I've met at SportsGrid, and I'm just super pumped for the opportunity. Sometimes things that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, whether it was me playing and just trying to get a tidbit on the golf course and certain thing the player might have learned. Now I'm getting that information because I don't mind asking it.
Only on SportsGrid.
89-87, 0.6 seconds remaining. Big drama here in this game. Always frustrating when your Final Four parlay and bracket gets busted, but here we go. I'm done.
Look what he is now. He's on FanDuel, plus 120. Almost even money to win the tournament. So you actually, if you did get him at plus 260, you got a pretty good, better investment than you had before. Just saying.
Sports Rage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live, PrimeTime. Wrapping up shop here. Quick 2 hours as it always is. So, yes, a few weeks back, Dave and I, the S&W Corporation, put in a 3-league, 3-team parlay that we told you many, many times. Do it. Follow us because we're going to be bringing it up, which is always a lot of fun with betting. So we had two, and one of them included UConn. Dave, as you know, as part of our championship in the NCAA men's, and then we have the champion in Stanley Cup, and then we got the champion in the NBA. So we won with UConn, so we're alive. And we got Colorado, Dallas, which is playing great hockey, and Florida in the NHL. And then we got Boston, Milwaukee, and Denver in the NBA. Each one of the parlay, depending on who wins, but it's going to be around 200 to 300 400 or so to 1, especially if we get the Bucks to win, which I don't think is going to happen. But we're alive. And now, 1 down, 2 to go. If we can get the hockey, then they'll really be offering us a nice little buyout, right?
Well, if we could get the hockey just to be a matchup between the Florida Panthers and the Dallas Stars, then we could focus on the NBA, right? I like having the East and the West representation. It'll leave us outs. Listen, congratulations to the UConn Huskies and congratulations to the S&W Corporation. Leg 1 of the parlay is in. For those of you that have trailed, enjoy. Now we got to focus on the hockey. That basketball's still a long way off. We got the right teams, the favorites sitting there. I'm good with it. I'm fine. I'm excited because it's a big payout, like we said. And it gives us something to root for going into the playoffs. I can't believe that Kurtz dismissed all the bottom feeders in the NHL. That's the hardest trophy in sports to win. He said nobody's winning it. Like the Rangers just going to blow through everybody. Like the what is he talking about? I'm worried about that league. Come on.
We're okay. We're okay with the hockey. First things first. Let's go Calgary Flames tonight. Dave, good job. We'll do it again tomorrow.